All right, so, I feel like I'm going to get a whole lot more political than I really ever have on this channel. We're just going to run it and we're going to see what happens. So it seems like every day now, the Republican Party leaders just believe you are the dumbest person alive. Like, I swear to God, almost every single day, I wake up and I log on and I see some new post where it's either the Republican Party saying that the Epstein files don't exist, or it's Donald Trump confirming they do. Like, every day it feels like. I really wasn't planning on talking about this at all until yesterday. DOJ told Trump he's named in the Epstein files, the Wall Street Journal reports, and then like shortly after, White House is not denying that Trump's name appears in the Epstein files, official says. This comes literally right off the backs of them once again denying that they even exist in the first place. Just the whole ordeal of going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth again has just been the biggest, I swear to God, this has to be like the biggest political fumble of my lifetime. I can't see it getting worse than this. I genuinely can't. What is going on under the current administration, it feels so crazy for an instance like this to ever be able to happen again. In August 2019, after Epstein's death, Trump retweeted a post that alleged Bill Clinton was connected to the Epstein's death. When asked about his retweet in an interview, Trump said, "What we're saying is we want an investigation. I want a full investigation, and I want what I absolutely am demanding. That's what our Attorney General, our great Attorney General, is doing." The Attorney General at the time was Bill Barr. Pressed further on if he really believed the Clintons were involved, Trump didn't shut it down. "I have no idea," he said, but encouraged further questions. "So you have to ask, did Bill Clinton go to the island? That's the question. If you find that out, you're going to know a lot," Trump said at the time. So let's keep this in mind. This is an important aspect to the bit here. Trump believes that Bill Clinton is in the Epstein files. In August of 2020, during the thick of his re-election campaign, Trump suggested that Epstein may have been killed while in federal custody. Trump may or may not believe that Epstein was killed. And in June of 2024, Trump was asked if he would release various files, including the JFK, MLK, and assassination files, along with the Epstein files, during an interview with Fox. Would you declassify the files? "Yes," Trump said. "Yes, I would." Now, this is missing a little bit of context. I don't remember the exact context of what exactly he said, but it went along the lines of like, "Yes, I would." Well, only the credible stuff, because there's a lot of bad stuff in those documents. You don't want people getting hurt who don't deserve to be, who, didn't do anything. So only the good stuff. We're only going to release the good stuff, which is something he's been parroting for the past couple days now. I'll get into that more later. It's just very strange for a lot of people that the list of clients that went to the island has not been made public. It's very interesting, isn't it? It probably will be. By the way, probably, Trump said. Yeah, I'd certainly take a look at it. Now, Kennedy's interesting because it's so many years ago, Trump said. They do that for danger too, because it endangers certain people, etc., etc. So Kennedy is very different from the Epstein thing, but I'd be inclined to do that to the Epstein. I'd have no problem with it. And then, miraculously, after all this, after years and years of talking about it, about, the very possible existence, and, even saying certain people are in these files, they just kind of come out and say they don't exist anymore. They're gone. Not even they're gone, they never were. They never were. And all this talk about it has just been talk about it. It was never real. And that leads to this absolutely beautiful post that Trump made on Truth Social. Let's just give a little look here, all right? There is 48,494 replies, but only 44,000 likes. Having the President of the United States get ratioed on his own platform over this situation is absolutely ridiculous. What's even more ridiculous, though, is the content of what he's talking about in this post. I'm gonna play this for y'all. Bless the Lord from our absolutely beautiful figure here, Geno Samuel. He did a recording of this. I'm gonna go off a little bit. This post, right? I've spent years following Christian, like genuinely years now. I'm going on like maybe 6 or so years. And the way Trump tweets, it's so funny. He tweets the same way Christian does. And the way he talks, really similar to the way that they do. They just kind of like go off and they do stuff, especially with like just posting online. Like the capitalization and the pattern of speech is so similar to Christian. So Geno Samuel took it on himself, the guy who does the Christian documentary videos, to read this in the voice that he uses during the documentaries. I absolutely love it so much. I'm gonna play some clips from this so we can get a sense of what the heck is going on in his brain.
What's going on with my boys and in some cases gals? They're all going after Attorney General Pam Bondi, who is doing a fantastic job. We're on one team, MAGA, and I don't like what's happening. We have a perfect administration, the talk of the world, and selfish people are trying to hurt it. all over a guy who never dies, Jeffrey Epstein. For years, it's Epstein over and over again. Why are we giving publicity to files written by Obama, Crooked Hillary, Comey, Brennan, and all the losers and criminals of the Biden administration who conned the world with the Russia hoax, 51 intelligence agents, the laptop from hell, and more? They created the Epstein files, just like they created the fake Hillary Clinton/Christopher Steele dossier that they used on me, and now my so-called friends are playing right into their hands. Why didn't these radical left lunatics release the Epstein files? If there was anything in there that could have hurt the MAGA movement, why didn't they use it? The left is imploding. Kash Patel and the FBI must be focused on investigating voter fraud, political corruption, Act Blue, the rigged and stolen election of 2020, and arresting thugs and criminals, instead of spending month after month looking at nothing but the same old, radical left-inspired documents on Jeffrey Epstein. 1 year ago, our country was dead. Now it's the hottest country anywhere in the world. Let's keep it that way and not waste time and energy on Jeffrey Epstein, somebody that nobody cares about. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
So this post comes out, of course, right off the heels of them saying that the files never exist, despite like a month before or sometime around then, Pam Bondi saying the files are sitting on my desk. I have them. They are here and I'm going to be looking at them. You can't just come off that saying, I have the files. I've held them. They're sitting right there. They're not real. They're not real, by the way, guys. And so there's a bunch of crazy things that are going on in this post that we're going to look over about just this absolute generational fumble on this whole situation. This whole time, right? They've been building up these files like they're here, they're real, they're important. We're going to get them out and we're going to hold the people accountable. And now they don't exist. Both parties have been pushing for the release of these files. And for like there's no win for either party if one, the files don't exist, or two, they release them. Either way, everyone loses. Everyone in the leadership roles, at least. Because if these so-called hypothetical files existed, apparently both parties are in them, so neither party can release them without hurting their own party. And then if it was just some political move to, like, you know, for example, the Republican Party, Trump ran on saying, I'm going to be releasing these files. If they didn't exist, and he doesn't release them after saying all this stuff and all this hype about, oh, all these people are in it, now he looks like he's protecting those people. Because you can't say for years and years and years these files exist, and then they don't anymore. You can't do that. No matter what, they lose. Sorry, I went off on a little bit of a rant there. Let's go over probably my favorite part of this tweet. It's Epstein over and over and over again. Why are we giving why is it moving? What the heck? I can click and drag on, what? It's Epstein over and over, screw it, I'm not highlighting. It's Epstein over and over and over again. Why are we giving publicity to files written by Obama, Crooked Hillary, Comey, Brennan, and the losers and criminals of the Biden administration who conned the world with the where's the period? Jesus Christ. Okay, let's take a look at this here, all right? The files were written by Crooked Hillary, Hillary Clinton, a Clinton, married famously to Bill Clinton, who Trump believes, as of August of 2019, is in the files. So imagine the Democratic administration writing these files up, right? And then Hillary or Bill is like, let's do this absolute Giga Chad move. I am going to write my own name in the files. For what reason? They don't gain anything from that. Bill Clinton leans over, write his own name in the files, for whatever reason. And then, once they're done making the files, oh no, our guy Bill's in the file. We can't release them now because it'll do him harm. So now, if this is true, right? Because we know the Democrats also haven't released these files, so there's also a lot of people in there that they don't want exposed through these files. But if the Democratic Party wrote the files and made them up, that means they wrote Bill Clinton in there too, and they made up him being in the files, along with any of the other Democratic people in these files. If there was anything in there that could have hurt the MAGA movement, why didn't they use it? Because the freaking king of idiots on the Democratic Party decided to write in all of these Democratic people so that they can't release it. If what you're saying is true, Mr. Trump, they didn't release it because the absolute stupidest person alive decided to come around and write these files, and for some reason thought that it would, I don't know, just be fun to write in their own name and a bunch of their friends' names. Hey guys, guess what? Me and all of my friends are pedophiles. Just for fun. And then, of course, he goes on to just, like, shift the narrative to a bunch of other stuff. It's like, let's talk about this. Let's talk about that. We're going to talk about Iran. We're going to talk about the voter fraud. We're going to talk about all these other things, right? Let's not focus on this. Let's talk about everything else, which has kind of been the playbook as of late. It seems like every single time another big thing gets announced, it's right on the tail of some other ridiculous Epstein-involved thing happening. Here's another post of Trump doubling down on his claims that the Democrats made up the files despite them being in them. And then also just like going ahead and again trying to distract people with other stuff that's going on. The radical left Democrats have hit pay dirt again, just like with the fake and fully discredited Steele dossier, the lying 51 intelligence agents, the laptop from hell, which the Dems swore had come from Russia. No, it came from Hunter Biden's bathroom. And even in the Russia scam itself, a totally fake and made up story used in order to hide crooked Hillary Clinton's big loss in the 2016 presidential election. These scams and hoaxes are all the Democrats are good at. It's all they have. They're no good at governing, no good at policy, and no good at picking winning candidates. Also, unlike Republicans, they stick together like glue. Their new scam is what we will forever call the Jeffrey Epstein hoax, and my past supporters have bought into this bull hook, line, and sinker. They haven't learned their lesson and probably never will. Even after being conned by the lunatic left for 8 long years, I have had more success. Jesus, my ability to talk has just left. Okay, anyways, I'm not reading the rest of this. Let's pay attention to now what he's saying. Again, it's fake. They made it up. They faked it. They made it up. It's a scam. But now, even past this, my past supporters have bought into this bull, hook, line, and sinker. So now he's claiming any one of his supporters, supposed previous supporters, who believe that the files are real, are no longer his supporters, and they fell for the con. Another instance of just throwing themselves off a cliff. In what world is it a good idea to say, these files have existed for a long time, they have existed, there's a bunch of bad people in there, we're going to release the files. I'm not going to do that anymore, I'm not going to release the files, because either I'm in the files, or people I don't want to be in the files are in the files, or the files don't exist. So now, either three of those instances, I don't want to release them, so I'm not going to. But I've told the public for years and years that these files that exist, and they need to come out. So now, I'm not putting them out, and the public's still going to believe that they exist, because we've hit this over and over again, that they exist. And now, anyone who believes that they exist, right now, after I've told them for years, anyone who believes that they exist is now no longer a supporter of mine, and they're a faker, and they're a loser, and they fell for this hook, line, and sinker. You don't win from this. Mr. Trump, are you tired of winning yet? Because it seems like you're getting tired of it. There is no winning in saying that. There is no win. They haven't learned their lesson and probably never will, even after being conned by the lunatic left for 8 long years. Who's they? Who's they? Your supporters? This comes right after talking about your supporters like that. And what are the 8 long years? The first 4 years of your presidency when they supported that, and then the other 8 during the Biden that for some reason these same people got conned for? What were they getting conned during your administration about? Let these weaklings continue forward and do the Democrats' work. Don't even think about talking of our incredible and unprecedented success, because I don't want their support anymore. Thank you for your attention to this matter. I don't want their support anymore. He no longer wants the support of every single person who he's been telling for years these files exist, and they believed him. He no longer wants their support. Cool, I guess. And then, of course, it's just been spiraling. Like, every day, something new comes out. A couple days ago, House cancels last day of votes before summer break as the Epstein consumes Capitol Hill. They were trying to, once again, bring these files back up to get them looked at, and then the House, they did some finagling and made sure that the vote to do it doesn't happen. At least, like, it's not necessarily canceled as far as I'm aware. It's been delayed, like 2 months or something. The House has like a recess every summer for a couple weeks, and so, you know, they'll come back after that, so like maybe they'll work on it again, but you know, that's been delayed for a long time so that maybe some more stuff can happen to either distract us or dismiss the issue. And then, you know, as I said, they'd be releasing files, so like, here, we tied you over, we're gonna release the Martin Luther King files, here you go, these ones are real, the Epstein ones, on the other hand, Those never existed in the first place. Another one, just out of absolute nowhere for like no reason, Trump won't make a deal with Washington Commanders if team refuses to change its name, right on the back of more Epstein drama. This is on July 21st, and I would tell you what exactly this coincided with, because it literally happened like hours before, or no, it happened like hours after another Epstein thing. I thought I had the tab pulled up. I didn't. Oh, I lied. Here's what it was. This is the order it was supposed to go in. 2:52 p.m., July 21st. Trump won't make a deal with Washington Commanders as team refuses to change name. July 21st, 3:30 p.m. Trump administration guts office to combat human trafficking amid criticism over President Epstein's styles. You know what they did? No, I'm sorry, I worded that wrong. Not necessarily what they did. In this instance, they cut a bunch of the office to stop what this whole ordeal is about. For some reason. I don't know why you would gut the office to combat human trafficking. Like, where's the win here? Where's the win, genuinely? Who benefits? Other than, like, specifically you trying to dodge this case. But another thing they did, which is kind of, like, in the same vein, Maureen Comey, a career federal prosecutor who worked on the Jeffrey Epstein case, was abruptly fired by the Trump administration this week. This was during all of the back and forth over they do and don't exist from the administration. Let's get rid of her too, so that, like, I don't know, maybe something doesn't happen from her end. House canceled the day of the voting day, July 22nd. You know what else happened on July 22nd? Trump accuses Obama of treason in the office. Goes over a whole bit about how Obama was, you know, like this big bad guy who led the whole Russia scam against his election and like stole the election or whatever. And then literally, as of yesterday, the reason I've decided to start talking about this is it happened again. It happens like every day. DOJ told Trump was named in the Epstein files, Wall Street Journal reports. He's in there. There he is. He's in there. I don't know how on earth the Wall Street Journal got a hold of this information, but apparently they did somehow. Now, I'm willing to bet that this will lead to an absolute crazy lawsuit, because that just seems to be every single time it feels that like Trump is criticized by someone in power who has a voice who he just doesn't like. Here's your lawsuit. You know, like this comes on the heels of a $16 million lawsuit to the Late Show after Stephen Colbert said stuff that Trump didn't like. Actually, I'm willing to bet. Hold on, let me check Trump's Truth Social account. He probably did say something about going to sue the Wall Street Journal. I'm willing to bet he did. Oh, okay, no, never mind. He's not suing them over the one that was uploaded like yesterday. He actually already has an ongoing suit with the Wall Street Journal. I forgot about this one. Over another instance of them proving things that he has said about Epstein wrong with like some really incriminating evidence. It's just like over and over again with the Wall Street Journal just popping off with just proving that Trump was involved. Anyways, though, that's beside the point. What I did find whenever I was scrolling through his account, though, is something that I also wasn't planning on talking about, but I think it's also another funny, like, ridiculous scenario that I'm just going to talk about now because it's topical. We just completed a massive deal with Japan, perhaps the largest deal ever made. Japan will invest, at my direction, $550 billion into the United States, which will receive 90% of the profits. The deal will create hundreds of thousands of jobs. There has never been anything like it. Perhaps most importantly, Japan will open their country to trade, including cars and trucks, rice, and certain other agricultural projects and other products and other things. Now, let's sit with me for a second, all right? Let's talk through this, all right? Why in God's name would Japan want American cars and trucks? Even if they did open up trade, because actually, I don't know how this ended up as part of the deal, but Japan doesn't block foreign cars. Like, here, look, I found this article because I was trying to find, like, the actual, them, like, out before the tariffs are happening, where it says, like, yeah, they don't have anything blocking tariff or anything, like, no tariffs or nothing blocking foreign cars. This was, like, the easiest thing I could find, so we're gonna have to interpret a little bit here. On part of, like, the very initial negotiation of this, market access reality, while Japan technically maintains zero tariffs, right? They were never tariffing on foreign cars. They were never really blocking foreign cars. The US argues that non-tariff barriers effectively limit market access, which is completely true. Completely true. And that's why American cars don't sell in Japan. Not because, like, Japan doesn't allow them to. The Japanese public doesn't want American cars. They're too big, they're too clunky, and they're just too expensive to run in Japan. Like, the American cars just don't work there. I don't know what kind of victory Trump was looking for here in getting America. Like, I know the victory was having more cars be sold in America, but the victory of having cars, period, be allowed to be sold in Japan doesn't change anything. They already are allowed in Japan, and no one there wants them, so they don't buy them. In addition, rice and certain other agricultural products. I have absolutely no clue how what the situation of rice between America and Japan is. But why would we be selling Japan their rice? Why would they want American rice? Japan is rice the country, like Japan and China. If anything, we should be getting rice from Japan. I don't know why rice was so like heavy in this deal. I'm actually gonna look into it. Where does the majority of rice in Japan come from? Okay, so Japan has an ongoing problem for food production. They're not producing enough food, except for one food. Today, Japan depends on imports for many food items. In 2021, while Japan domestically produced 98% of rice consumed, I'm not reading the rest. They produce 98% of the rice that they need. So they're probably not exporting to the US, but they sure as heck don't need to be importing from the US. Let's take a look here at the list of countries by rice exports. India on the top, Thailand, Vietnam, Pakistan, China. All right, let's take a look at the map for a second. India, Pakistan, China, Vietnam. They're all right there. They're all right next to Japan. You're telling me that Japan would rather import from here all the way across the Pacific, right? Then maybe just grab from like right here, or maybe just right here. This is cheaper. This is cheaper. This is so much cheaper. So much cheaper. They won't be buying American rice. Sorry for my little tangent. That just popped up like yesterday and I was like, what? Why should they care? We don't win anything from this. Donald Trump is so tired of winning. Oh, I forgot to mention also, with the whole cars deal, let's just look at like the market share of cars in the US, right? Hyundai 11%, Honda 9%, Nissan 7%, Subaru 4%. These are huge margins, all from Japan. Like if we total the amount of cars that are coming from Japan to the US, it'll rival like the cars in the US from the US. Oh, and I think I skipped Toyota too. So like the American people even prefer the Japanese cars. Why on earth would the Japanese prefer the American cars? Anyways, Epstien this, Epstien that. It seems like literally every day it's one or the other. They're real, they're fake, they're real, they fake. I'm in it, I'm not in it, they're not in it. The Democrats made it up, the Democrats put themselves in it. Genuinely, probably one of the worst things that I will ever see the government fumble with, like ever, to be honest. I think like maybe besides like starting the next war, but it will never be as public and as stupid and ridiculous as this has been. Anyways, that's it. This video has been very long. I'm done talking. Bye.